Hi, everyone. My name is Meredith Velasquez. I am the current class member of the Leadership Aurora class, hashtag best class ever, as we are going on our second year now due to the pandemic. And I am here today with Jill Ruiter. She is actually my success partner in the Leadership Aurora program. So if you've been a part of Leadership Aurora, you will know eventually or have known what a success partner is. And just on a personal note, Jill has provided me some amazing support and just conversation throughout the year. So I've been very appreciative of that. But amongst many other things that I will get to, she's been a good support for me and a great success partner. So thank you for that, Jill. And I want to get her introduced to everybody. There is a long list of many things she's accomplished that I had no idea about. So I'm glad to be doing this and learning more about you as well at the same time, along with everyone else paying attention and listening. So Jill is the current executive director for the Aurora Public Schools Foundation. She joined the foundation team in 2019 and is passionate about mobilizing and optimizing resources, which allows the foundation to continue their support to students and families of Aurora Public Schools. Jill is proud to be a Colorado native and did graduate from Loveland High School. She's held a number of roles for national organizations, including serving as VP of Development and Events at the Livestrong Foundation, where she was responsible for the management and strategic execution of all philanthropic revenue sources, including events, direct response, major gifts, stewardship, grants, and corporate partners. In addition, Jill worked at the American Diabetes Association, where she was responsible for the implementation and execution of the planned giving program. As director of that program, she oversaw nearly $25 million in annual revenue. That's a lot. And she realized 150% growth in charitable gift annuity revenue. She also worked at Compassion International in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where she helped develop the planned giving program, including the creation of their Legacy Society. Jill earned her bachelor's in communications from Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida, and an MBA from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. She's happiest when she's surrounded by her family and friends, and she enjoys exploring the great outdoors. So glad you're in Colorado. Jill, it is really a pleasure to have you today, and I'm excited for everyone to learn more about you and how you've kind of managed through this pandemic and through our Leadership Aurora program and to hear about your experience. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Happy to be here. And Meredith, I'm glad that we get to do this together. This just feels right, that we're success partners and having this conversation today.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, so let's start off. How has the Leadership Aurora program impacted you personally and professionally?
Personally, when I moved to Aurora in 2019, everyone talked about Leadership Aurora. Jill, you've got to get involved. Jill, you got to go do this. So it's like always on my radar. I was constantly checking the website. When does the application come open? Don't want to miss this opportunity. And so I was so new that it really was part of learning Aurora. You know, I had no prior knowledge. I'd moved up here from Austin, Texas. So even though I'm native to Colorado, Aurora was completely new.
Yeah.
And so it exposed me, and it felt just like the perfect way to be introduced to all the different areas of Aurora. So healthcare and education and community days and things like that. So it really just kind of gave me a really good foundation. I think on the professional side, it also helped me learn where there were opportunities for Aurora Public Schools, for our students, for the foundation, and also where there were going to be opportunities that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing I was thinking about preparing for this, the example that I would give is we had City of Aurora Day. I can't even remember what month that was. Maybe it was like January. It was cold. I remember.
Yeah, I just thought of it the other day too, and it feels like so long, but so close.
I know. But one of the things we got to do on that day was go tour Aurora TV and go through the television studio, and we practiced some media opportunities. Some of us were in the control room. We were in the editing suites, and then we were in the studio as well. And so that actually came in super handy because as the foundation, as we all moved through the pandemic over the course of the spring and the summer and the fall, the foundation typically has a fundraising gala once a year. And so the question was, can we have it in person? The answer was probably not. And so we started exploring different options. And that's when Aurora TV kind of emerged as a partner to that solution.
Yeah,
so we got to work
really
with Randy
cool.
Simpson, the city of Aurora. They were fabulous. And so it was something, I didn't even know we would tap into that, but it was awesome to kind of see all of that come together and come full circle in a fairly short period of time.
Yeah, I feel like you've used a lot of the resources that are tapped into a lot of the resources that we've learned throughout Leadership Aurora thus far. I feel like you've really taken advantage of like making those connections and just reaching out to the people that we meet or know, people in our class even, and has really given a good advantage to the APS Foundation. So they're lucky to have you.
Yeah, I think a lot of times what I found is we all have a similar mission, and that's to support the community of Aurora. And so if that's the foundation, and then you can start working with partners that also have, everyone's kind of mutually minded, and it's just ends up being this win-win, triple wins, a lot of wins across the board, because everyone has some sort of desire to support Aurora overall.
Right. Yeah. It supports their agenda for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
You did answer my next question about one of your favorite memories, I guess, would be City of Aurora Day, but anything else you can think of that was just sticks out there? I mean, Aurora TV was really fun. The laughing. I mean, that day I said, I have not laughed this hard in a really long time, and I'm even getting giddy thinking about it. It was comical.
It was so comical. And part of it, I think some people, there was like an issue, right? I think there was like an issue, and then some people had to take the pro side and some the con side. And so it was this kind of debate on air. And to really see folks get into character was really fun.
Very fun.
I mean, I'd say the retreat is always a highlight. I'm sure anyone who's done the program would say that. It just kind of jumpstarts the program, jumpstarts the relationships. You're in the mountains, so what's not to love about that? But that was a really great way, I think, to kick off the program and to just like build camaraderie really fast.
And you're almost, I mean, at the beginning you're a little uncomfortable, but you're almost just forced to, and everyone is in the same position you are. So you really just embrace it. And I think our class did a good job of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just out of curiosity, are you the first person from the APS Foundation to be a part of Leadership Aurora?
That's a good question. I think I am the first from the foundation. I think several others within APS have gone through the program at different points in time, but from the foundation standpoint, I think I am the first.
Yeah. That's really cool. I know there's only a couple of you there at the foundation, but maybe you can continue that tradition on. It's nice.
Yes, I've already talked to my other colleague about it. So it's on her radar. So when the next class opens, hopefully there'll be a class of, I guess, 2022.
I don't know. We might be the everlasting class.
Forever and ever. So I hope that she gets a chance to do it. It's eager on her list, and she got to see it through my eyes.
Yeah.
And so I'd love for her to experience it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I went through your bio, you have obviously dedicated most of your career to charitable giving organizations, and you're now serving with Aurora Public Schools. Why is the work that you've done with previous organizations and now with the APS Foundation so important for giving back to local communities?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting just to think about my career path. I think of it kind of more of a patchwork quilt. None of it was intentional. It wasn't set out that way, but there's international organizations, there's national organizations, and now local. But beyond that, there's more like humanitarian development efforts. I've worked in healthcare related to cancer and diabetes, and now working in education. And so I think one of the things when I was thinking about taking this job was that, I don't know the education space. I know nonprofit, I know philanthropy, I know that part really well, but I do not understand the ins and outs of education and schools and districts and all of that. And I was really upfront and really honest about that. But I think that's actually proven to be an advantage because I was able to come in and quickly adapt things I'd learned, probably from different industries, less so the size of the organization, more so the industry of the organizations,
Right.
to say, what if we took something that I worked on in healthcare nonprofit and tried that over here in education world? And it's been really interesting to kind of see how that has taken shape and things. I will say at this level, being really close to the mission is awesome. I love it. I think at some of the national organizations, you're a little further away from the mission, or you're funding research, which is really important, but it's going to take years of research, and it's happening in labs all over the world. And so that's a very different kind of feel of work than you see kids in school today that are receiving services today. And then you see them tomorrow going on to a technical college or going on to a certificate program or going into the military or university. So that part has been really cool to be much closer to.
Yeah, I love that. And it's almost like your fresh perspective you thought was going to be a disadvantage, but turns out it's been a big advantage for that foundation.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope so. You know, I saw a lot of opportunity. I felt like there were things, I thought that there was really inspiring leadership in APS. So through Superintendent Munn, I saw really committed board members that were the board of the foundation, since we're a separate 501c3.
Right.
And so in those two things, if you have those really strong, you have inspiring leadership and you have a committed board of directors, the rest you can build. And so I saw that opportunity to really kind of empower or maybe build off of those kind of two foundational things to really grow the foundation and support more students.
Yeah. Very cool. What would you say you do every day to help inspire unity, change, and service?
I think is really basic for me, and that's just it's customer service. And I know that sounds so businessy.
It's not.
But it's just showing up. It's answering the phone. It's answering emails. It's finding ways to say yes. I may not be able to say yes to everything, but if I can maybe say no, not yet, or no, not in that way, but let's try this.
Yeah.
So I've challenged myself to, while still trying to stay really focused, you know, we don't want to get tangential on our mission or on our work, but stay really focused, but still, how do we find ways to say yes?
Yeah.
So one example would be recently the professional development team at APS reached out to me. They're the ones who really focus in on professional development for teachers. So establishing like in-service days and learning opportunities for them. And they said, hey, Jill, like we would really like to engage teachers in this day. It's coming up in January, and we'd like to offer prizes. I said, that's awesome. I was like, I can't fund that. Like our mission is really focusing on the students, which I know teachers support students. So I know that's there, but we're really focusing on student programs. I said, but I have some contacts. So let me reach out. And I reached out to a couple of local organizations who I know really love to support teachers. And I've now made that connection.
Very cool.
So we couldn't come in and say yes, but I could say, but here's another solution. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Yeah.
And it sounds like when you say customer service, the way I think of it or the way I'm hearing it is really building relationships and connecting people in collaboration. And that's so important. Just of being a natural leader. It sounds like you're doing that really well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, personal relationships are so critical, I think.
Yeah. How have you seen other people around you in Aurora do this? How do they, you know, what's their idea of customer service, or what have you experienced?
You know, I was really blown away when I started how many people were just willing to meet with me. I was just trying to get any meeting that I could. I was reaching out, I was emailing, I was calling, and I was playing that I'm new. I'm just trying to, understand, what you guys do in the community, and people were really receptive to that.
Yeah.
And so I was so grateful because I do feel like folks just taking meetings and taking 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes out of their day to just share with me, it helped us progress even faster and have better outcomes and better impact for students.
Yeah.
So I was so shocked at the number of people that just said, yes, I'll meet with you. I mean, Kevin Hogan was one that I think our first meeting was several hours, and it was really walking me through the history and the future, and to the point that Kevin was actually a founding board member for the APS Foundation. So that was kind of a cool connection. I mean, I walked in and I didn't know that at all. So it was fun to learn that from him. Yeah.
Cool. Why does community engagement and service even matter to you? I mean, there's plenty of other, opportunities in Aurora that you could make a ton of money doing. Why do you think community service and engagement is important?
I think it just keeps you grounded. For me, I never want to become too big for my britches kind of a thing. I really want to stay grounded. I want to be at that community level. Giving back is just kind of part of who I am. I've always wanted to do that. And so, I think too, it just makes me more grateful for the things I do have and just being able to have more of that kind of grateful attitude. I think we've all learned that in 2020 as well.
Yeah. You got to find it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truly.
Are there any personal testimonies over, this past year through your work at the foundation that has really inspired you through the impact the organization is having on your students and families? I know, I've seen so much on social media from the APS Foundation in this past year since you arrived, and the stories are really heartwarming, and some of the work that you're doing is amazing. So I'm sure you have some personal examples that you could share with us. That would be great.
Sure. Our students, they really are. They're so awesome. They're fun. They're great to be with. I miss seeing them on a more frequent basis since they're in remote learning right now. But the thing I actually wanted to highlight was, during the pandemic, it was, I think, March 16th, and somebody walked into my office and they said, it's very likely that tomorrow we will not be coming back into work. So bring your things home and kind of prepare that way. And I work in the district offices. So just as there's consistency there. So starting March 17th, the APS Nutrition Services team sprung into action. They developed grab and go meal locations. They started, I think, with 16. Over time, that expanded to 21. Over the summer, over the fall, I think it went to 45.
Wow.
So they've really just been out there. I mean, rain, shine. You got to remember, like March, it was snowing at points in time. Yeah. And they were out there and they were delivering meals. And in the summer, it was hot and they had misters and they were delivering meals and, making that available to students. And that work has continued all through this fall semester.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, I would say, our frontline heroes, kind of our unsung heroes. They've been on the ground the whole time. But one of them, she got a note from a student, and it's so cute. And I have a picture of it on my phone because I just needed to have that with me.
Yeah.
But it just said, to the lunch ladies, thank you so much for providing food every day. And then a picture of a dog and a flower. It was so sweet.
So sweet.
It was so heartwarming.
Yeah, it really is.
And so just both for the students and the families and just other community members that have all been affected adversely economically by this pandemic, I think that I found a lot of inspiration in that nutrition services team.
Definitely.
They're nonstop.
Yeah. And I can say, just working with some of those students on the other side of this in the field that I'm in, having those meals from the school district has been a cornerstone of stability for some of these families that they do not have. And I know so many people are appreciative, and I am so appreciative that that's still going on. So thank you for making that happen.
Absolutely. I think that's the key. I think that's stability. It almost seems like every day there's something changing, and that's been the world we've all lived in since March. And so to have consistent locations, to have consistent times, to have consistency in how the meals are delivered or how they're picked up, that was really critical and really thoughtful by that nutrition services team. So I'll pass that along to them. Yeah, they really are superheroes.
Yes, they are. And outside of serving with the foundation, what are some other groups and organizations that you're involved in across the city?
I've got to be honest on this one, and maybe this is where the leadership comes in, is I wouldn't say I'm overly plugged in some of these spaces, partly because I've been in Aurora now just coming up on 2 years, and this last year has been more of the pandemic, and so less opportunities to get involved. However, Children's Hospital has put out a call quite a bit for blood donors throughout the pandemic, just, because they still have car accidents and they still have surgeries and they still have other things. And so I've gone over there several times, kind of whenever my window opens again, I've been over there donating blood. And I just say, like, I felt completely safe, that it was really well spaced out, the cleanliness, they take your temperature multiple times. So, folks are looking for something that they can do. I know that that's a huge area of need. And I know that there's other places around Aurora that do it as well, but I'm on their list. So I get their emails, and I just have kept it easy by kind of knowing where to park, knowing where to go, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But that's been at Children's. And I know too, I think the city of Aurora has done a really good job with some distribution programs over the summer. It was maybe on a weekly basis, and now it's moving to a monthly basis. So I volunteered for that 1 or 2 times this summer, which was great. And it was at the were you out there? You might have been out there too. Not on the same days as me, but I think it was at the town center of Aurora.
Oh yeah, for the giving back, the Aurora Day of Giving. Yeah, I did it a couple times. Okay. That was a really cool event. There were so many people there, it was like almost like we had too many people wanting to help, which I found really cool, but it was nice to be outside, because the days I went, it was actually beautiful outside. So that was really nice.
Agreed.
And the families received so much, which was awesome too. I loved that.
It was really awesome. And even things like diapers.
Yes. Dog food.
Yes. So like really critical items that, for certain people, for our little people and animals, that were really needed.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Obviously, this past year has brought us many challenges and changes in our lives. What's been something positive in your life while you're navigating through this pandemic?
So I sat down in January, and I'm not much of a resolution person, but I just, set up some goals for the year. And I thought, Jill, this is a year, just focus on the small things. Like a lot of times in my life, and maybe that came through in my bio, it's kind of like go big or go home. And so I do things really, really big. But I thought, just be like really diligent in the small things. And so in January, I started out with writing kind of a note to a friend every week, because I have friends all over the country. And so I've just a note, hey, I'm thinking about you, hope you're well. And then as like the pandemic progressed, I think that theme just carried through even more. So a monthly call with some of my college girlfriends, that's now a thing. Like we meet on Zoom once a week or once a month, and we're all over. We're in North Carolina, we're in Chicago, we're in Colorado. And so I think that'll continue even after the pandemic. And so while we were in communication before, I feel like we're in even better communication. More little local trips, instead of doing big trips to, big plans that we all make. It was, let's just go to the mountains. Or I actually drove to Moab for a couple of days.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
In Arches National Park this summer. It was comfortable. It was outside. It was spaced out from people. I'd never been there. So just really trying to take advantage of the small things.
Yeah.
And then I actually had 2 nieces. So that were born during the pandemic. They're little pandemic babies. But they're so sweet, and they're healthy, and they're about 6 weeks apart. And so I've been able to see them with masks on, and that's just been really, really fun.
Yeah. Such a joy to have just, the connection with people. That's been really, really difficult. And I've seen a lot of things that say just checking in with someone is really important. So it's nice that you're doing that with people.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think our emotional and our mental health is just as important as our physical health. And so, the isolation can be really challenging. Even I know working from home all day sometimes feels like a really long day.
Yes.
And even though I like what I do and I do get to chat with folks, I think to your point, just checking in with people is so important right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What leadership and community service lessons might you be able to share from your experiences from Leadership Aurora and your professional career?
From my professional career, I had a boss one time. This was a long time ago, maybe 10 or so years. And I was her assistant at that time. And I had started maybe a month before she did. So we were both kind of the blind leading the blind, if you will. And but we got to know each other pretty well. And she looked at me one day and she said, Jill, if you are in this position in a year, I've totally failed you. She's like, you're capable of more. I'm going to push you to do more. And so I've taken that and I've tried to implement that for others. And so I have one other full-time staff member right now, and I tell her all the time, I'm like, you know what, like you can do, like you're great right where you are, and I love having you on the team, but I'm going to groom you to actually take my job.
Yeah.
And because
That's
I
what
think
you want. Yeah.
that's what you want, like I want her to grow. I want her to expand. I want to grow. I want to expand. And, I'm not committing to any time frames or anything like that, but I've had people who've done that for me and helped and gave me responsibility maybe before I thought I was ready for it.
Yeah.
And that just helped me develop in myself, build confidence, become a better leader faster. And so I love now being able to kind of turn around and give that back to others. And so doing it certainly with her. And I think, with Leadership Aurora, we've just seen so many of our friends, I would call them friends now. They're colleagues and peers, certainly, but they're also just friends. And, that we're kind of in it for each other. And so when you have to make a phone call or you need support in a certain area, we now have a network that we can call. And hopefully there's a yes or a yes, let's figure out how we can solve this solution together. And I think those are leaders who are really willing to like roll up their sleeves, dig in the trenches, and help create solutions for our community.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you said, I'm basically training you to do my job, because you would want the best for somebody in that position as a leader. You want other people to be leaders as well. I love that.
Absolutely.
What are some qualities that you look for in leadership?
I always look for somebody that has high ethics or integrity, and also somebody who's a servant leader. So, I'd never ask somebody to do something that I myself wasn't willing to do. I'm never, as a leader, going to be above anything. I think that's a strength and a weakness at times, and maybe it goes down to one of maybe the future questions I think on this list. But as a leader in kind of what would now be mid-career, I think that's I want to be that servant leader. But there are times where I need to step away from being kind of an individual contributor to being more of that management, and having others do that work. So I think trying to convey that I would never ask them to do something I'm not willing to do, but I can't always lead.
Right.
Lead by example. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's other
balance
times
there.
Yeah, it really is a balance. And there's times when my time and my expertise needs to be spent at a different level.
Right.
And so needing, whether it's colleagues or volunteers to step in on some of this other work, is critical to balance, but also just them having an understanding or a knowledge that you'd be there if you could, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, so I always look for that in leaders. I think that's really, really important. And obviously like integrity and ethics are just, that's just kind of foundational.
Yes. Yeah.
You want somebody that you can trust.
What have been some of your own challenges within leadership, and how did you overcome?
Yeah, I think it would go to what I was just talking about, kind of that, like now working toward mid-management or mid-career. piece, like how to move away from some of the individual contributor work into that kind of management.
And just balancing those things.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we're a small foundation, so we're 2 full-time people and 1 part-time contractor.
Yeah.
And so there's often times where I'm still doing a lot of individual contributor work, and I'm happy to do that. And I think that keeps me grounded as well. But how to maybe start shifting some of that to my colleague to help grow her so that someday she can take my job.
Right. It's also hard because you have to trust people to do that, you know, and when you do it yourself for so long, it's hard to kind of give that up and say, someone else can do this just as well as I am doing it, and they deserve to have that opportunity. That's hard.
Exactly. And they might even change the way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they may find
it could be better than what
more
you
efficient way or a better way. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
I thought I was the best. No.
Darn it. Yeah. No, you were the best at the time for when it was there.
That's right. That's right. So,
how can someone listening to us right now get more involved in Aurora or their local community and provide an impact?
I think, you know, it's just like anything else. You get to choose how much you want to invest. And if you're willing to invest, there are a multitude of opportunities. So whether it's signing up and joining Leadership Aurora for a year and becoming exposed to 8 or 9 different industries that are represented here, and then choosing an area to really dive deep into in the future, I think that's a really good way. I think if you don't want to wait for the application and the actual program, like you can just jump in. I mean, you can call me. We have opportunities at the foundation. I know that the city has opportunities through I think they're continuing their days of giving. They're in a monthly format now, maybe. So I think there's opportunities there. You know, sports teams are always looking for volunteers.
Yes, coaches.
Schools are always looking for volunteers. You know, there's really a ton of opportunities. So it just is a matter of kind of opening your eyes. Even the hospitals, I think they have quite a few opportunities. You know, send notes to healthcare workers right now. You know, that you can do from the safety and comfort of your own home, and it can mean the world to someone.
Right. Those are all great ideas. And to end, you know, on just a fun question, I have learned so much about you through this. I feel like I know a lot of fun things about you too, though. But if you could have a treat yourself day, which could be an activity, a meal, a trip, whatever, what would you do? What would it be?
I just have to be outside. So if it was summertime, I'd like to be outside water skiing. If it was wintertime, like it is now, it would be snow skiing or snowshoeing, something outside, just getting fresh air. You know, we live in such a beautiful place that, you know, I love being outside as much as possible. So, and then of course, like a good cozy meal after that, something in red wine sauce or something. Or your husband's barbecue. I'd totally eat your husband's barbecue.
I know, it's really good. Well, he does a Christmas special, which is prime rib, which is probably like I'm not like a huge fan of prime rib, but his prime rib I get really excited about every year. So I'm excited about that. But if you ever have a treat yourself day, let me know. We can get you some barbecue. Because in Austin, you got some really good. And he really likes to base his barbecue off of Texas barbecue. That's his favorite. Yeah. So
it's amazing. It really is. I don't know how they do it or what they do, but I'll tell you this. You'll learn something a little bit more about me. So when I go down to Austin, Texas to visit, it's been a while, but Franklin's Barbecue is down there, and you can actually order a brisket pre-cooked, or I'm sorry, it's cooked and chilled and then vacuum sealed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can order it ahead of time, and then you schedule your pickup right before you go to the airport.
I was going to say, so you can bring it home.
Throw it in your bag.
Nice.
Even the carry-on. You know, all the rules say that you can bring cooked meat on airplane. And so whenever I go down there, I schedule to pick myself a brisket.
You don't have to. Jill,
I need to get it from your husband. I know.
Yeah, it's the same brisket, because that was, I mean, he talks, we have a picture of him with Aaron Franklin.
And Franklin.
Yeah, and his face is like, he literally looks like a 7-year-old on Christmas morning. He's so stoked about being next to Aaron Franklin. His brisket is like what got him so obsessed with barbecue. I mean, he just loves it. So he really strives to make his own brisket that same way. You've got to try it.
Okay, I do.
And whenever we see each other again, I will try to bring it to you.
Yes, remind us the name of his business.
It's called Moonlight Diner. The catering company is 62nd Street Barbecue. This is not like a shameless plug for my husband.
No, but like I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember.
62nd Street Barbecue is the catering company. So they do catering. They also, deliver meals and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Well, I guess that's it. I really do want to thank you. And I learned a lot about you. I knew you had done a lot of things. But like I said, through that bio, I didn't know you had done so much. And I really appreciate the work that you've done with the foundation, because quite honestly, on a smaller level, it really does impact the work that I do. So you should know that what you're doing there really trickles down to many families across all spectrums, everywhere. So thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. Is there anything else you think you want to close out with, or we should mention?
I just think that it's so cool that we got to do this as success partners.
Yeah.
And so for those that don't know, haven't been part of the program and don't know what a success partner is through the program, they paired everyone up based on different personality tests.
Well, and it's based on basically your opposite person.
Opposite. Yes, exactly. So we're completely opposite in this testing. And so I think
which could go really wrong.
It could. Yes, it totally could. That.
Yeah.
It could. And but Meredith, like, I'm so grateful for you, and just that we've gotten to spend the last year and a half, and now we're spending another half a semester or however long together, since it'll be the longest class, best class ever.
Yeah.
You've taught me so much, and for the work that you do in the community too, supporting all of our students and kiddos that way. So but yeah, I just think it's really cool that, it wasn't planned this way, but the stars just aligned that we as success partners got to chat on this conversation.
Yeah, I think it was really cool. I'm glad we got to do it as well. And I look forward to hearing more about, more of our classmates and past classmates. With the program. And I hope it really opens up Leadership Aurora to other sectors as well, because I think there's so much value in just collaborating with other people within the city.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. It was great to see you, and I hope you have a great holiday.
Awesome. Thank you, Meredith. You too.